Check your time, it's 2028. Good evening and welcome to Election Spotlight 2026. The program where we bring you the voices of leaders seeking your vote ahead of the 13 August general election. So this evening we are joined by the President of the Citizens First Party, Mr. Kalaba, who is currently touring Western Province as part of his campaign. My name is Stumbeko Skuga and I have Mr. Kalaba in the studio. Good evening and welcome to Western Province and this particular radio program.
Good evening, Stumbeko. Thank you so much for having me. Good evening, our listeners and viewers. From wherever you're watching and listening from to us, it's very good to be here on Oblet Radio Liseli. Thank you for having me and my team here.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kalaba is not alone in the studio. He is joined by Madam Sabori Imboera, who is the NDC President and Orange Alliance member. Lumiambo is the program on Oblet Radio. And we also have the President, Mr. David Malomo, who is from the PASA President and Orange Alliance member. Good evening and welcome to the program.
Kalaba Party, yaunga buti n'obantu bose banamungu yaunga buti bana bonse bamunisija Zambia magamanga ujogo nkojiri gumbo Kalaba Party nda no kumbuya wali papia.
Then the first president and also PC and past president. So combine English as well as Lozi for you, our listeners at home, to be part and parcel of this particular radio program. So like we do, this is an interactive radio program where at some point we'll open the phone lines for you to participate by asking a question or making a contribution on the topic of a discussion this evening. So this is Election Spotlight 2026. Mr. Kalaba, once again, you are welcome. The last time you were here was in 2021. So perhaps you can hear from you on your way from Lusaka to here. What notable changes have you seen to Western Province?
Well, first of all, I must say that I am very happy to be here in Western Province, Barossaland. I'm very happy also to report that this morning I had the privilege, rare privilege, of meeting the Kuta as well as His Majesty, the King. He received us very, very well. Nice King we have here. And I was so delighted to be immersed in the Lozi culture. I must say that whenever I come to Barossaland, I don't even feel at home here. I am at home. You know, I am home here. So I'm very grateful. But to talk about the changes that have happened from the time that I was here, very limited changes have happened in the last 5 years here.
Okay.
The changes are very limited. Very limited. And it is sad for Barossaland. Nothing much is happening here. Nothing much is happening.
Okay.
It's a forgotten place. Yeah.
Let me turn to Madam Savori. Any notable changes from the last time you were in Western Province? What have you seen differently?
Nothing much apart from the fact that I'm coughing because of the bad roads. We've been complaining to say Amuzwa Lusaka, where any province manahamo, at least the road leading to that province is okay. Road data from Barossaland, it's the only road which is not okay from Lusaka to here. So you can tell the level of neglect. He dusty fed. I'm coming to Mushabati is that great. Mano wana yangu kitamaki. Waka is that great many pula ya nera fate. Ubanga handi. Grading fair kuna the risko the munoka kachenu. I don't fit up to the other side. Mane makatlo kena room Mushabati. So in terms of changes, notable changes, akuna, it's very, very sad to be up to now. ulozi baweza ulu neglect my leaders balona and we expected better kwa church ero baga kuli bantu ba yabantu bafaka ofia hulu kuna mbona mwazerize
register my disappointment. I expected a lot coming to this province. Like my colleague has mentioned, I think the people of the province have and we've had the Minister of Infrastructure, the former Minister of Infrastructure, actually comes from this part of the country. And so I think clearly the people of Western Province deserves better. Or deserve better in the 5 years that the UK and we live in. So it's actually a very sad story. It's a very sad state of affairs. We are entering the province like it's very, very sad. We've never seen this kind of an entrance, especially like my colleague has mentioned, when you're entering any other province. I think there's that civilization, so to say, but here it's a very sad story. I'm totally disappointed.
Mr. Kalaba, you already received a blessing from the quota as you met at the Ritonga. It means you've been given the permission to go around the province and engage the people. What message are you bringing to the people of Western Province? So far we've heard in our news bulletin this evening of industrialization that you promised to the quota this morning.
Yes, what the Citizens First Orange Alliance is bringing to Barroseland is not only one or two issues. It's a plethora, it's a diversity of many things that we are bringing to the province. This province is blessed with a lot of things. This province is blessed with sand. This morning I was briefing the quota that the glass that you see, all these bottles which have got glass, they come from sand. And yet here, in Barroseland, sand is everywhere. Why is it that there is no industry to make glass in Barroseland? Why? Because that is what can drive economic activity. We in the CF Orange Alliance are promising the people of Barroseland that given the powers to govern this country this year, we would want to have an industry that is going to create glass here in Barroseland. Not only that, here in Barroseland we've got a lot of cattle. A lot of cattle. Why is it that we don't make shoes here, leather shoes here, leather handbags, leather belts? Why don't we do that when we've got the raw material? This is Barroseland. It is full of potential. There's even no dairy farms here. There is even, so when we come into government, we want to ensure that Barroseland gets a fair share of its development. We also know that here in Barroseland we grow a lot of tobacco, especially around in Kalaba area there. There's a lot of tobacco being grown. And yet the tobacco that we grow, first of all, the pricing of tobacco has never been good for our farmers. It discourages people from growing tobacco. We want to fix that when we form government. But we also know that our tobacco is taken to Malawi to go and be processed. They're going to process cigarettes there. And then they export back to Zambia. That has to come to an end because we want to ensure that what is produced here in Barroseland is also processed here in Barroseland. You say that Zakufanya Tambola. So we believe ourselves that if God has endowed you with all those good natural resources, we have to take advantage of those resources. And we, in the Citizens First Orange Alliance, have said an opportunity has come for Barroseland to redeem itself. We have been taken for granted for so many years. She was just saying, President Sawa here, she was saying, look at the road network. The road network is pathetic. And yet the Minister of Infrastructure in the outgoing government was coming from here. Now, if you can have a Minister of Infrastructure in charge of roads, leave the roads be dilapidated like that, then you know there's nothing good coming. So this is the time for our people in Barroseland to make that decision. The people of Barroseland are a decisive people. Very decisive people. In 1991, they decided that Dr. Kaunda was going, and Dr. Kaunda went. In 2011, the people of Barroseland again decided that there was going to be a change of government from the MMD to the Patriotic Front. And the MMD went. Again, the people of Barroseland in 2021 made a decision that the Patriotic Front was going to go and the UPND was going to come in. And that happened. Again, the people of Barroseland are being called upon to make that decision that the UPND must go and bring in the Citizens First Orange Alliance, bring in Kalaba, so that the people of Barroseland can see development for once. We have been played with for too long. It is time to act.
You've talked about the natural resources. This is not the first time we're hearing that. The UPND came, the PF came, they are talking about the exploitation of natural resources. How are you going to do it differently? Because this campaign promises that the people of Western Province have heard several times, but nothing has been done on the ground.
There is a difference between politicians who just talk and leaders like myself who walk the talk. When I was minister in the PF government, I resigned when I didn't agree with the levels of corruption that were happening at that time. I said, I'm stopping. So I'm not just saying things that I cannot do. And I'm not just saying things that are going to buy politics so that I'm elected. We are talking about things that can happen here. When I say this place had industries before, I was telling the Kuta this morning, that we used to have mango juice being processed here in Barroseland. What has happened? It's because here in Barroseland, you can't have industries because of the level of electricity that you have. The power generation you have is very limited here. It's just for domestic consumption. And yet, you are the ones who are basically looking after the Zambezi, you know. Without you, the ecosystem here would have been disturbed. And yet you have kept the ecosystem intact, but you are not beneficiaries of what you are keeping intact. The CF government intends to change that. We want to bring in here, not because I'm just promising for the sake of saying it, we intend to bring in here a nuclear power plant facility. Because it is the only way we are going to have power generation, which will be enough for industries to thrive here. When you talk about the industry for leather belts being done, for mango juice to be done, industry for even for cashew nuts in this province. You've got rice in this province. And yet, we have got bilateral relations with China. Why is it that we have not gone into an agreement with the Chinese to help us develop the rice industry here? And the rice here of Barroseland is about the best rice in this country. But we have not taken advantage of that. And yet we have got leaders, even coming from Barroseland here, who are always in China. They'll tell you, no, I'm going for holiday in China. I'm going for holiday in China. They're bringing nothing here when they come back from those holidays. What we want now is to have a situation where the rice industry here is pronounced. Even little here, we need to have proper methods of how we can grow the fishing industry, which has not happened. This is a place where you have the Mlobesi sawmills. It's gone. This is the place here where you've got a lot of wood here. You've got a lot of timber here. The Chinese are using I was telling His Majesty this morning that, you know, the Chinese are using those sticks they use. Is it chopsticks? That they're using for eating. Here, the timber that you have is what they need to make those chopsticks. Why can't we go in a bilateral agreement with the Japanese, the Chinese, the Vietnamese, the people in Malaysia, the Singaporeans who are using those sticks, so that here in Barroseland, we can start an industry to make those sticks for the Chinese, and we begin exporting them. Our children here will not need to go anywhere because there will be a lot of employment that will be created here in Barroseland. But that is not happening. So we are not poor in Barroseland. After all, most of the intelligent, most of the educated people are coming from here. I mean, history will tell you that most of the accomplished people are coming from Barroseland. I mean, therefore, for us, human capital here is already accomplished. What we have lacked in Barroseland is leadership. And that is the leadership my colleagues in the Orange Alliance are bringing to the table.
Tumeweza kusema wewe kuhatiza makoresha utezi wa president wa bure la president Kalaba fakiri kama ni kweli kaizo wa chwani kwa kwanza Maria wanasha.
Okay, zana bure wa Kalaba fakiri kuli mobile sala ndimo tunanaru likazenga tahuru yawezanga kutima natural resources inge raisi inge limbangala that's cashews right limbangala nisi kama nisesimu amka wanaliko okuzwa leather so kizenga taruzo unanizo na mo zeko kuba turned into finished products ma products ya wale kisa ona mbona sio kubelelera but unataka kweza add kuza ulezi bokala bakuli amka bona bulozi bo Zambia as a country one of the worst maternal mortality rates and if you look at Barotseland it gets large part ya maternal mortality rates mwanahamo so meaning kuli msana na nimba hangata washwa couple of bad hospitals. I was just told in Ekefera last week on Afa where about 6 women died following a hospital because there was no oxygen. You know, so things like that. Kirika zetu kwa kubeiwa. Amka bonaneke education system. We have had a lot of intelligent people coming from this province. A lot of good grades. Amka bona Zambia fare every year. Amka bona the highest performing provinces in the country. Barotseland, they were number 1. But have you noticed these days, we are going to be embarrassed? What is going on in this province? For the province to be performing so badly. You know, I'm in terms of treatment, in terms of miliani, akuna government project, let's protect the population of Likomo. Zashwa huru. So government say, I scar there are a lot of problems which are happening. What should have been good? The things that we're so proud of. Next, in terms of population, in terms of education, future leaders on at all. Fair performance, a lot of things happening in terms of poverty levels. Poverty, negative performance, affected. So those are the things the Orange Alliance, Citizens First Orange Alliance, Barotseland is known for these good things, and we should maintain them and enhance them. They have not taken care of the province. For them, instead of almost everything has gone down. I was writing last time for Facebook to say, Zambia why there was bad load shedding. Load shedding faded. We came to find load shedding here. You know, and I remember when I wrote for Facebook, when I did load shedding, I just got a call from Zesto Lusaka, you know, saying, no, the repair works happening and everything. And I could have been here for a week, and electricity here goes every day. No, call you back after 30 minutes. Give us a meter number. No, don't put electricity money in Zena. And I'm sure they knew because we were around maybe Malay last year, then that was where I knew. And you pay any area to put that proof, one apple shedding it. You know, so these are the things that was a pretty. Mawana Kuribatuga, but there is a Rugo. Zambians, no matter what happens, voting is not about just a feeling. No. There has to be a correlation between the way you vote and the way you live. He once said, if politicians fail to change your lives, then the people should change the politicians. So here in 2026, with all these problems which we have talked about, and also the solutions which your President Kalaba is there is all this resource, you know, which for a long time it has been looked at as a source of problems. You know, but here it is. Like that one as from the leather and all those things. So we are saying, apart from our problems, solutions. Orange Alliance in normal solutions, which if were to be voted for, Zambia, a lot of places changing. Zambia, first of all, will change generally, and then specifically the issues which President Kalaba, our flag bearer of the Citizens First Orange Alliance, has talked about.
Mr. Kalaba, you've shared your priorities that you started with the BRE this morning. Someone who is listening would want to know, how have you identified major challenges in Western Province, and if elected into office, how are you going to resolve them, specifically for Western Province?
Look, I'll tell you for a fact that Western Province is very close to my heart for a number of reasons. This is a special province, like I said before. Western Province is a province that has produced accomplished people, and we are proud of that as a country. But when you look at the poverty index, which is just already there, you can go and check it out, Western Province is at the bottom of the pyramid. They are saying it is the poorest province. Why should Western Province continue being the poorest province when it has got everything to its advantage? Just look at the provincial capitals. Just look at the provincial capitals across the country. Mungu is the least developed provincial capital. It is beaten by even Solwezi, Mungu is beaten by Kasama, Mungu is beaten by Chipata, Mungu is beaten. This should have been a city, but it is not a city. What politicians do is that they'll just come here, say their stories and play Chimboya with the people of Barosaland, and once they do that, they go, and they go for good. And then they remember you when it is time for votes. That must change. That must change. And I agree with the president when he said, the President Chilema, when he says, if the politicians are not changing your lives, you should change the politician. And so the time has come for the people of Barosaland to change the politicians. And look, for me, I am not new here. In 2021, I stood as a presidential candidate here in Barosaland. I stood, and the first one, out of 16 contenders, the first one was President Akainde Chilema, who was voted for overwhelmingly. The second one was the late President Edgar Lungu. And I was the third in that 16 lineup. Now, if I'm asking a genuine question. I came out third in 2021, here in Barosaland. Again, I should come out third. The answer is a no. Now it must be one, because for these developmental projects and agendas to happen, we have to have a person that is committed, a person that has an agenda, a person that is going to carry the people along, as opposed to what we are seeing now. And that person is the one you are currently talking to.
Mr. Kalaba.
Yes.
Let's talk about infrastructure development. You've talked about roads, health facilities, schools, which remains a concern in some parts of the province. What are your plans to improve public services?
We have said, when you go to the Wanika hospital here, the Wanika hospital today, it is now known for prescriptions. When you go to that hospital, they will not give you the medicine. What they will give you are prescriptions to go and buy. Now, where will people get the money to go and buy those prescriptions that they are giving at the Wanika hospital? Where will people get the money to go and buy their medicines? Already that's the problem. Before, what I knew about the Wanika hospital, that they used to even to provide food for patients. Today, I have been informed that there's no food being prepared there for patients. So how will you take your chloroquine? You have not eaten anything, and then you should swallow that chloroquine. How will it work in the body? The chloroquine now begins acting like poison. Instead of it healing you, it begins killing you. So those are things that we are going to correct. For us, what we believe in the CF Orange Alliance, that infrastructure is a prerequisite for economic emancipation. There is no way you can talk about development in the absence of a solid infrastructure. What infrastructure is that? We need hospitals that are going to have all the machines required. Here, where the king stays, you can have a hospital. If you want to do MRI, you have to go to Lusaka. Here, where the king stays. If you want to do your cancer things, you have to go to Lusaka. Here, where the king stays, when you want to do your, these people who do what you call it, if you want to do your heart things, everything, you have to go to Lusaka. I think the time has come to change that narrative. And we have to be deliberate about it. In this place, when you look at even just the general infrastructure in Mongo, just the general infrastructure, it is a sorry sight. It's a sorry sight. We in the CF have said, because of the way Barotseland has been neglected by this government, we would want to have a situation where once we open these industries that we're talking about, these industries will act like a catalyst for development to come into Barotseland. Because once you start making those chopsticks for those Chinese and Vietnamese, already that will attract a lot of investment around here. Once you start making mango juice or mango jam here, already that will bring investment. And the town will gradually begin changing, because it will be challenged to begin producing certain essential services for that group of people that will be around here. We are going to move on that trajectory, because we believe that the time for Barotseland to develop has come. The time for the children of this land to also feel that they can get the best of their land has now come. And we in the CF Orange Alliance are saying, hold our hands, we hold yours, for us to bring that development. And it is not far from here. It is only 6 weeks. That is remaining for us to make that decision. Just 6 weeks. We make that decision. Zambia, Barotseland changes. And we are determined to make sure that the people this time will make the correct decision. Because last time, they voted for the UPND very overwhelmingly. Now, when you voted for them, we all hoped that they were going to bring the development that the people wanted here. Nothing, hakuna. Here in Western Province, Msevensi hakuna. Vanavaru na manyanda haulu here. Here in Western Province, everything here in Barotseland has gone bad. So, she was talking about load shedding. If there was a place which was experiencing more load shedding than other places, it is here. Because here people were staying even for 20 hours without electricity. Why should it be like that? This narrative has to change. Development must move evenly in all provinces, so that what is happening in Kalaba should also be happening in Ngema. What is happening in Kaoma should also be happening in Monze. Now, these things are not happening, and the people of Barotseland are being left out. We in the citizens first believe that this is wrong, and we are going to change the narrative once you give us an opportunity to lead this country.
Let's talk about still on infrastructure. Under the PF that you said, we saw your government constructing houses for civil servants in parts of the country. In the last 5 years, we've not heard anything from the UPND. How is Citizens First going to tackle the issue of accommodation, providing adequate water facilities for civil servants?
I'll tell you what's from there. It's not even about just providing housing for civil servants. When you look at me, I'm not a politician. I'm a civil servant. Me, I am a civil servant, proper civil servant, because my rise into the politics came from the civil service. I spent 10 years in the civil service before joining mainstream politics.
So it means you understand all those.
If there is, amongst all the presidential contenders, if there is one who understands how a civil servant suffers, how a civil servant is frustrated, it is me here. Because today when you talk about civil servants, including the men and women in uniform, when you ask them, there are no promotions happening there. They are stuck. When you ask the teachers, a teacher teaching in Limlunga, a teacher teaching in in Shanghai, their rural hardship allowance is not much. We in the Citizens First have said, when we come in government, if you are a teacher teaching in Shanghai, there must be incentives for you to be in Shanghai. If you are a policeman based in Shanghai, there must be incentives for you to be in Shanghai. When we have said, you will get 100% of your basic pay as rural hardship allowance. So if you are a police officer based in Sioma, by the way, there's even no mortuary in Sioma up to now. The UPND told us that they are going to create a mortuary, but up to now there's nothing happening there. It's a sorry sight. So we in the Citizens First are saying, if you are a policeman in Sioma and you get 7 as your rural hardship allowance, so in total you get 14,000. This is what happens even in the developed world. When you go to the United States of America, you go to Germany, Europe, though the civil service regulations say you can only act up to 6 months. Whether they write to you or they have not written to you, if you have acted for 6 months and beyond, then you are already deemed as confirmed. We are going to change that narrative. All those teachers who have not been confirmed, because some of them have been going to colleges, they have promoted themselves. They went in with a diploma, they now have a degree, and yet the salary they are getting is that of a diploma teacher, and yet they have upgraded themselves. That's an anomaly. We are going to fix that. We'll ensure that they begin getting their correct salary, and also backdate. From the time that they acquired their degree, we'll have to backdate for them to get that money, so that they can enjoy the fruits of their qualifications. This is not happening. We also want to discourage the habit of the police, if the boss doesn't like you, they're going to transfer you from Mongu, they'll take you to Shamong, or they'll take you to Nkem, or they'll take you wherever they want to take you. We are going to discourage that, because we are going to put incentives for people who are working in rural areas. So when they're sending you to Sioma, when they're sending you to Sikongo, they're not punishing you. They're actually saying you are putting more money in your pockets. Because we believe that the civil servant is the one who is like a fulcrum, is the anchor of governance. But right now, civil servants are frustrated. We are going to change that narrative. When it comes to housing, even the housing allowances that the civil servants get is not housing allowance that is really fit for civil servants. We want to improve their housing allowance. We want to ensure that civil servants begin getting mortgages to allow them go and get houses and they are paying slowly. We want civil servants to go and begin enjoying the debt swap. Because today, if you have seen you find that there are a lot of deaths happening with civil servants. Police officers are shooting themselves. Businesses are they're hanging themselves. There is a lot of suicide happening. A lot of suicide happening with our civil servants. Why? Because the economy is very hard for them. We are saying, we are changing that narrative. When we form government, we want to take off the dates of these civil servants. And I'm happy that other politicians who are also campaigning are talking about dates swap. That is how influential we are. We would want, as Orange Alliance, to give civil servants a relief. And we are determined, because we understand their challenges, and we will make sure that the civil servants have got relief.
This is Election Spotlight 2026, the program where we bring you the voices of leaders seeking your vote ahead of 13 August general election. So this evening, we are privileged, we are talking to President of the Citizens First Party, NDC President and Orange Alliance member, as well as Mr. President David Malamo, who is the PASA President and Orange Alliance. So very shortly, we'll open the phone lines for your questions and contribution. Now, Mr. Kalaba, let's talk about the so much enhanced constituency development funds that has been talked about over the last 5 years in Zambia. I did say it to have opened up rural areas in some parts of this country, if not the whole country. So what is your position on decentralization and increasing resources for local councils? Are you going to continue with CDF if you are elected as president of this country? Or there is a way in which you handle this particular sector?
CDF is not a bad idea. But the CDF under the UPND has not been understood in its context. They have taken CDF as decentralization in totality. CDF is a very small component of governance. This is an idea. The CDF idea from as way back as I can remember is an idea that was mooted by the Senegalese guys in Parliament. The members of Parliament, they wanted to find a fund that could help them between central government and the implementation of projects. That is how CDF was built. And when our parliamentarians went to Senegal, they went and saw that, and they said, maybe this could be a good idea. But what has shocked me, is that CDF has been made as if it is a grandiose idea, as if it is what we should be depending on to get development in this country. Even the vehicle, today I saw the police came when I was having a meeting in Limlonga. I saw the police coming there with a vehicle written CDF. CDF for what? CDF for what? CDF for what? I was member of Parliament for Bahad in Wapula province for 2 terms. At the time I was member of Parliament, we used to get 1.4 million kwacha then as a Consumer Development Fund. That was basically used for when you've got blown off roofs, when you've got, and yet the money was doing its job as compared to now. Today you have got CDF, and they're not even ashamed of themselves. No, we have increased CDF, now it will be, I don't know, now they're saying it will even reach 70 million. These people say, what is wrong with the thinking? It was 20 million, it was 25 million, it was 27 million, you put it to 40 million. People were not accessing it. How many people here in Barosaland can say, here in Mongo Central, can say that CDF has worked for them? How many? How many? This is why UPND is going to fail the elections this year, because they have detached themselves with reality. CDF is a hoax. CDF is not real. CDF, they just talk about money on paper, but in practical terms, there's no money. You are telling me, Wostombeko, in a place like here where we are in Mongo Central, or even Nalikwanda, you are telling me if 40 million, which they keep on talking and yapping about, if indeed that 40 million was being given, you can't see substantive development happening around here. But you know, we are going to bring CDF because they have promised the people of Barosaland that once you vote for them, they are going to increase CDF again. Please, punish them. These people are not serious. CDF has failed to answer our challenges. CDF, when you talk about empowerment programs, it is what we are proposing as CF Orange Alliance.
What is your proposal?
Our proposal is that CDF should just be minimum figure, but separate the monies. Let the marketeers receive the money directly themselves. Let the money go to the market here at our market here. Let the money go there directly, not the constituency, not the what. If you want to help the marketeers and the market fund, the marketeers themselves will form a team which will be dishing out loans. If they get a 2 million kwacha, they know who is selling in the market. They know whose attitude is this and that. They will manage that fund properly. If you want to help the youth,